AruvaChan, and I am doing a collab today with one of my moderators, Candy. I literally just did this entire audio recording just now, and I'm having to re-record it, so I'm kind of sad. I really did. I had just finished almost all of it, and I have to restart it. It's so sad. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about a teacher in high school who humiliated me in front of my entire class. And I'm not putting that lightly. I was mortified. I'll give you a little backstory. I was new to the high school that I had come to. It was like maybe a year new. And I had like maybe 3 people who were my friends. And I was very, very shy. Very shy, very quiet. I did all of my homework. And I, like even if I did it like last second, which was most of the time, I did my homework. I was smart. I was a good kid. Like, I did all of the reading assignments. I was the example student. So there's a little bit of backstory on me. Like, I'm literally a people pleaser most of the time. Like, not so much now, because I don't really care now, which is good, because I need to stop people pleasing and try to person please myself. And, you know what I mean. But I was teacher's pet back then. I was teacher's pet, and I'm okay with that because that's what got me through high school and, what got me a job in college. So when I was in high school, I was a very quiet kid. I didn't like talking out loud because I didn't feel like I was, entitled to other people's business because I figured people didn't like me. So I literally was just a watcher, and I did my homework. I did whatever I needed to get by, and I joined teams and I did things and whatever. Like I did the high school thing. And I hated it. I hated high school. I hated all 4 years of high school. Like, it was miserable, and I missed middle school. Like, middle school was my greatest schooling. Like, I was in middle school for 4 years, and I enjoyed every year of it. But high school was terrible for me. Like, elementary school was okay. Like, it was pretty good because I had recess. Middle school was amazing. High school sucked. Now, I've talked to a lot of kids, and they have the other stories. Like, they say they loved middle school and high school the best, which is cool. But, that wasn't me. Because I wasn't mentally prepared to be in such a... It's not hostile. High school isn't hostile. It was rough for me because my family moved twice, so I had gone to 2 different high schools. Well, 3, but I don't really count the first one. 2 different high schools. In the first high school, they had a lot of different rules and regulations, but they didn't require some classes, so I ended up getting stuck in a freshman class for, my senior year. I had a freshman class my senior year. I had a few freshman classes. Now that I say that, I had a few. I'm not a senior anymore. I had a few freshman classes, which was no problem for me because the school had different requirements than my last school. So I gratefully accepted, hey, I'll take 3 gym classes. That's totally fine. I'm cool with 3 gym classes. I know I'm fat, but I'm cool with 3 gym classes because I'm a good student. I'm a people pleaser, so I like to do things. And I was cool with 3 gym classes. I didn't actually mind because one of them was freshman gym, one of them was senior gym, and one of them was personal fitness. So I kind of had a well-rounded schedule where I was exercising 3 times a day. And then I went to swim practice after school, which was weird. Was very active my senior year. Yeah, but I got stuck in a entry-level, welcome to History of America kind of history class. And I didn't really have a problem with learning about, beginner stuff. Like, I've had such a spotty education that, like, I've missed a lot of different stuff because I've moved around so much. I've missed a lot of different, topics. And I get a lot of repeat topics because different schools have different things that they learn at different times. So, like, when you were learning about Christopher Columbus, like, I had learned about it 2 years before that or whatever. So when I had moved to this school, it was a new topic, and I was okay. Like, I'd never learned about the history of, all of the world up until, now, or up until Christopher Columbus or whatever. So I was cool. Like, we learned about Aztecs, we learned about, Incas, we learned that, all of humans originated from Africa and just spread out. Like, I thought that was super cool. Like, I actually enjoy history. So, like I said, this class wasn't a problem for me. It was just the teacher and some of the students. Like, in the beginning of the class, like the first few weeks, I had a problem with this one girl, and I called her Red because she had a red streak in her hair, so I'll just call her Red now. So Red, tried to start, a fight with me the first day, because I don't know why, but the freshmen are super, like, every year they're getting just so much worse and worse. And I'm not saying that to be mean or to be like, oh, the freshmen are so bad. No, my school didn't pick fights, and, like, the kids in my school, they genuinely tried to be good kids. Like, a lot of them weren't good kids, but they tried. Like, we even elected, like, a special needs guy to be prom king, and, like, although I didn't elect him because I had a friend on court, a lot of the kids elected him because they genuinely enjoyed him. Like, he was funny and he was nice, and he always went to the games, so they were like, yeah, he deserves prom king. Like, I can't imagine the freshmen of the school doing that now, but, it was something that my class did, so I respected them for that. But the kids who were coming in, I don't know why, but they were so just out there. They weren't trying to hide that they didn't like you. They just didn't like you. Which was bad for me because I was a quiet senior in a freshman class. And you don't know what to do from that. Like, I had no idea what to do. Because I was the quiet kid. I was the quiet one. Like, I was a people pleaser. Like, I just wanted to do my thing and get out because I didn't want any trouble. But I had trouble. So Red, she's sitting across the room from me, and it's not a big room. So she, like, looks right at me. She's like, so why are you here? Like, almost exactly like that. And, like, I don't know what to say. Like, I need to take this class. So I said I need to take this class. And, like, she says something about, like, wow, did you get held back or something? And I was like, no. Like, I'm a senior. Like, I think they had asked me who I was, like what grade I was in. Because I look young. I look very young. And I don't know. They probably were like, are you a transfer student? I'm like, no, I'm a senior. Like, you don't know me. So they were like, oh, wow, you must be really stupid. You have to take a freshman class. I was going to say sophomore. You have to take a freshman class. You're stupid. Like, So I shut them down pretty fast. Like, you can't call me stupid. I'm probably the smartest one in here. Like, not to toot my own horn, but you're all freshmen. And, like, so dumb. And, ugh. Like, I don't know. Well, it definitely was, like, a turning point in my life where I was like, you know what? I need to stand up to this kind of stuff because this stuff happened all the time. And, like, it wasn't coming from the students most of the time either. And this is where I'll get into the actual story. My teacher, this is in Mrs. A's class, my teacher, Mrs. A, was terrible. She was so bad. Like, we had a kid who would constantly be asking questions, and they weren't even bad questions, they were just annoying questions. Like, he was genuinely curious about certain things, and he wanted information, and just annoyed the crap out of her. So she put him in a seat at the front of the classroom. Like, there's two sides of the classroom, and then there's the front of the classroom. So, like, all of the kids can see the front of the classroom. So it's not like, lines of desks. It's everybody can just turn their head to the left or to the right and see her. Well, he was placed at the chalkboard. So, like, when you first come in, there's a desk. And then there's, you turn to your right, there's a desk. And you turn to your left, and there's all of the other desks. So he was put in this one desk. And it was, like, the bad kid desk. Like, if you had to sit there, you were a bad kid. And he wasn't a bad kid. He was just annoying, Which wasn't his fault, because he just wanted to know. He wanted to learn. And he genuinely enjoyed the class, too. But, the smallest things can ruin a class for somebody. Like, I'd had trouble with Miss A before. She wasn't a nice person, and she liked to think she owned the halls. So, like, I had run into her after gym one day. And usually when it's a day when you have swimming, like, they had swimming every, once a week in winter, or every other day in winter, or every day in winter, depending on if you had to take freshman classes and, a senior class with your regular gym, like I did. So I had swimming every single day because I was in, I was in 3 gym classes. So I did it every day. So every day I'd take a shower. And, like, one day, like, I had gym and then I had lunch. So I took, I take showers. I take long showers. And it takes a while for the school's water to heat up. And it, like, all of the faucets in the bathrooms were cold, so you were just like, just do this. Like, just wash my hands, I guess. But it took a while for the girls' locker room to get heat. So I waited. I waited to get heat in the shower because after you come out of a cold pool, you don't want to take a colder shower because then you're freezing. And me, I have a body circulation, like, thing where I can't, like, regulate my own heat. Like, I get really cold. Like, right now my foot is shaking because it's, like, trying to stay warm. And I have my hands, like, on my lap so I can, just keep them warm. But I can't be in the cold for too long or I start to get, sick. Like, actually, like, start to feel disgusting. And, like, I can't help that. That's just, that's a health thing for me. So I waited for the heat to, like, turn on. And I'm not saying I haven't taken cold showers there before, but usually I'd get picked up by, like, my mom because I was doing swim practice. I'd take a quick shower and I'd go, get dressed and go out to the car because she was there, so I didn't mind. But not when I had to, like, go through an entire school day because you can't dry your hair and, like, do whatever after a shower because you literally only had, like, 7 minutes between the shower time and time you had to be to your next class. But luckily for me, I had lunch next, so I was like, cool, this is fine. Like, I'll just go into lunch late. Like, I don't, like, they'll still be serving lunch by the time I get there, and it'll be fine. So I take my shower, and I'm probably, like, maybe 5 minutes late. So I took, like, a 7-minute shower, because I was waiting for the water to heat up. I probably took a 7-minute shower, got dressed. So, like, I was walking there, and she stops me. She's like, where are you supposed to be? I was like, lunch. She's like, well, where's your hall pass? And I said, I just got out of gym. She was like, well, why are you this late? And I said, I took a shower? Like, she was trying to catch me on something, which is good for a teacher, like, to be like, hey, you're not supposed to be roaming the halls, but, like, also bad because I was like, I just came from gym. I'm soaking wet. And, like, I'm going to lunch. Like, I'm not going to any specific class. I'm just going to lunch. And I'm like 5 minutes late because I took a shower. And I said that. I said, I'm 5 minutes late because I took a shower and I'm going to lunch. And she said, like, okay, don't let it happen again or you're getting written up. Like, oh. Like, what? What? Like, how did I warrant this? And, like, that was, like, my first interaction with her, like, ever, because I hadn't had her, and, like, I didn't care to have her because she seemed like a jerk. So I just, whatever. Who cares? Whatever. I care, but whatever. She had already, bad image in my mind before I even had her class. When coming to her class, I did my thing of not talking, doing my homework, and, just being a good kid in general. And I don't say that, as like I don't say that as a thing to boost my self-esteem, like, I was such a good kid. No, I was the good kid. And I don't know if I said this already, because I recorded this 2 times, but I was the people pleaser, and I genuinely liked pleasing people, so I was teacher's pet. And it was a thing that got me through high school, thing that got me through college, thing that got me a job from college. Because I genuinely, enjoyed my professors, and I talked to them. I was a people pleaser. I liked to talk to them. And, so I just sat in my own bubble. I sat in my circle, and I did my homework, whether I did that last second or not, I did it, and I always turned it in, I always got really good grades on tests, and, I'd never had any problems from any other teacher. I had a problem with one teacher before, and it was because I had just moved there, and I, misplaced the papers that she gave me, and she told me, she called me out in front of the whole class, and I, cried. But that's because I'm an emotional person. I'm an emotional person, and I can't stand being cried. I can't stand being yelled at, for one. And, it felt like she was personally attacking me, which, she was probably really mad because you're not supposed to lose the papers, whatever. I know now that she wasn't, trying to target me. She was trying to make an example out of me, don't lose your papers or I'm also going to yell at you. But, I can't handle that. I literally went, out into the hallway and cried after our, class was done, because I couldn't. I literally was such an emotional kid in high school, so everything affected me so hard. And, this continued till I was out of college. Now I'm starting to get over that while I'm out of college and have, supportive friends who I can tell stuff to. I'm still emotional, though. So this kind of stuff that affected me in high school, it was real stuff. And I'm still trying to get over it. And as petty as it seems, and as small as it seems, it was huge to me. So I'm sorry if this sounds like it's terrible, or if I'm being bratty, or if I'm being selfish, but I really just want to get across what I felt. So I'm gonna get into this. And I know I don't have a script for this kind of stuff, so please forgive me if I ramble. But it's just, I need to get this kind of stuff off my chest, because it's been stuck inside me for a long time. So I had gone into class one day, and we had taken a test, and it was just a regular test, whatever, and I passed it in. I was very sure of myself, very sure that I was good at, getting good at grades in this, and I wasn't scared of failing. I was pretty good. I was pretty good in that class. I like to pride myself on being the smart kid. And I wasn't scared about getting a bad grade. So I passed it in, we were done. Come to school, the next Monday, say it was a Friday, I came into school Monday, and the teacher was passing out all of the papers again. Now, it's a freshman class, so I was super confident that I was getting a good grade. And, the teacher was passing back the tests, and I still hadn't gotten mine. And she came to the last one, and she says, "Whose is this?" She was holding the piece of paper. She says, "Whose is this? I can't read this." And I don't have very great handwriting. I still don't. I try really hard to write slower and to, try and be, more decisive about how I write my letters, because half the time my handwriting looks like a drunk Russian doctor's handwriting. That's a good way to put it. It's better than chicken scratch, because it's, somebody can read it. I can read it. I can read it perfectly, but it looks like a drunk Russian doctor's handwriting. And, for me, I was okay with that because it's something that I've worked on my entire life. Like, I had friends who would tease me about my handwriting, and it's something I'm super self-conscious about. And, like, I try not to let it bother me, but it really does get to me. And, like, I know it's something that I need to work on. Everything is something I need to work on, You always got problems. But this was something that I was trying to work on. Like, I was consciously trying to work on. And, like, for whatever reason, that day, I didn't feel like, writing in my normal person handwriting. I wrote in my normal handwriting. So she puts up the paper in the air and she says, "Whose is this? I can't read this." And, she couldn't read the name because it was like a circle the answered question or whatever. And she starts laughing. She says, "Whose is this? I can't even read. Can you read this?" And she puts it down to one of the kids who had been mean to me. She says, "Can you read this?" Laughing. She genuinely thinks this is funny. And, the kid shakes his head. He says, "No, I can't read that." And I know immediately. I know it's my paper because, one, I don't have my paper, and two, I have bad handwriting. Everybody else has their paper probably by now, and I have terrible handwriting. And I'm an emotional wreck. I'm a nervous wreck. So I can't deal with this kind of stuff. I really can't. I'm bad at criticism because I'm emotional. I'm too emotional, and it's not your fault that I get emotional at this kind of stuff. It's mine. But, that's something I'm working on. Like I said, I'm working on it. But still, it's you can't do this kind of stuff to a kid. You can't do it to a kid. You don't know that kid. So she does it. She gives it to the kid. She gives my paper to the kid. And he passes it to almost everybody on that side. "Is this your paper?" I'm sitting in my seat mortified. I'm not saying anything. I know it's my paper. I'm not saying anything because I'm on the verge of tears. I can't speak up or I'm gonna cry in this class where I have actual bullies. It's not happening. And I'm still super angry and sad about this because you can't do this kind of stuff. Especially to little me. I was so emotional. I had kept my emotions in for so long, and I died inside when this happened. And I'm not saying it shouldn't have happened because it's a character builder or whatever, but it affected me so much. So she had gotten her laugh out of it, and I genuinely felt like she just wanted to do it to laugh at me because she had brought it right over to me after she was done. And she said something next time put your name in English or whatever. And I stared her dead in the face, and I crossed my arms and I said, "Okay." I'm genuinely if she calls on me, I say the answer. I'm very good. For the rest of the day, my arms were crossed. I was paying attention, but I was not answering any questions, and I was not participating in one bit. And if that got me, a F for the day, it was her fault. And so it was at the beginning of class. It was at the beginning of class that this happened. So I was instantly in a sour mood for the rest of the day. And, from then on, I didn't like her at all. I had given her a chance. Everybody said she was the meanest teacher in the entire school, and she was so hard, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. She wasn't hard. She was just mean. And it was traumatic for me, to say the least. I'm a very soft kid. I was a very soft kid. I'm still a very soft kid. I consider myself a kid still, but I'm not. I'm an adult, but I don't feel like an adult. Everything from my childhood still affects me. I need to get over it, which is why I make these. So I'm not the kind of person who takes things lightly. I try to brush everything off as a joke now because that's just how life works. People joke, they make fun of you and whatever. Like, you just kind of gotta pull up your pants and say, you know what, this isn't gonna affect me today. But like back then, I didn't know how that worked. I didn't know how they make things not affect me. So I didn't like her. I didn't like her for the entire rest of the time she was there. And she had retired the year, before, or the year after that. I was gonna say prior. I don't know if that's the correct word. The year after this had all gone down. So this was her last year. Like, she genuinely was done. She was done with the entire school career. Like, she didn't care anymore. She didn't care about grades. Like, she had made us an entire, our final packet. She had made the entire final packet. It was 6 pages long. Our final was every single question on the packet. So, if you had done the packet and you had reviewed it, she made us review it in class, which was, it was great, because, memorization is 100% for me, but, she just didn't care anymore. She didn't care that we learned. She just wanted us to memorize it so we could get out of the class, and she'd never have to deal with us again. And, I was cool with that. I don't care about that kind of stuff. I know what I'll remember, and it's not about the Incas or the Mayas or where people came from or, how they bathed in ancient times. It's not any of that. I'll remember some of that, but, it's not that. It's not what I took away from her class. What I took away from her class was how much I hated her, because she made fun of me. She made fun of me at a crucial time in my growing. I was super quiet. I was so quiet. I never did anything to anybody. I spoke up for myself once, and that was it. And, I talked to the girl afterward. I said, hey, I know that was probably, really mean of me, but I just need you to know that I'm not going to be messed with. And she was like, hey, it's fine. I get it. And I was like, cool, because, that's not happening. So, the only ever time I spoke up was, when I was talking to somebody about, them being mean to me. And she, immediately was like, hey, I'm sorry, I know I'm a jerk, whatever. I'm like, no, you're not a jerk, you're probably just having a bad day or whatever, So, back to the day of the humiliating test, which I absolutely got 100 on. I got 100 on that test. At the end of class, she had noticed that I hadn't been talking. At the end of class, she, says, hey, Sarah. And I, turn. I do that slow turn where you don't really want to, turn to the person, but you turn anyway. She says, I'm just joking, right? I kind of shrugged. And she was like, you don't have to take anything I say seriously. And I'm like, at this point, I was completely done. I didn't care anymore. Whatever she said, it was to save her own butt. I don't care. I never tattled on her. And, I never told the principal, which I should have because I hated her. Maybe not. I don't care. It was her last year. Whatever. I'd made it through. It was fine. But, I can't imagine how many people she had done this to. And it completely rocked my world. Me, a kid who never did anything, always did their homework. I raised my hand in class, and I tried to do my best. And I was called out by the teacher for having terrible handwriting, and it devastated me. I had to push myself to be a stronger person after that. And, it definitely helped me push start, me being actually talkative, but it was not the right way. Alright, well, that's about all I got for you today. If you enjoyed that, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright? Bye!